So, you just got your first real job. Congrats! You're probably thinking about the future, your money, and what's even possible. Well, what if I told you there's a plan, a 7-year plan that could totally reshape your financial life, starting like right now?
Let's just put a number out there. $100,000. Just let that sink in for a second.
Now, imagine having that much saved up by the time you turn 25. I mean, that sounds completely nuts, right? Especially when you're just getting your feet wet in the professional world.
And that's the real question, isn't it? How on earth do you pull something like that off when you're making less than the average person? It feels impossible, but it's not. There's an actual strategy behind it, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack. Okay, before we even get into the numbers or spreadsheets, we have to start with something way more important, a really clear long-term goal. If you're starting your first job, this is probably the most important thing to figure out. You need to know why you're doing this.
And this right here, this quote gets to the heart of it. See, the goal wasn't just about stacking cash. It was about getting control. It was about freedom. When your why is that big, that powerful, it totally changes how you look at every single dollar you spend.
And check this out. This chart shows you the cold, hard math behind it. You know, if you save a pretty standard 5%, you could be working for 66 years. Oof. But what if you crank that savings rate up to 75%? Suddenly, you're talking about financial freedom in just over 7 years. It makes that crazy goal feel, well, a lot more real.
But let's be real. Hitting a 75% savings rate, especially right out of the gate, means you have to switch your life into extreme mode. So it's super important to be honest about the sacrifices. And yeah, even some of the regrets that can come with it.
This is, hands down, my favorite example because it's just so relatable. To cut down the food budget, he ate chicken breast, the cheapest protein he could find, for 2 meals a day, for years. The result? He saved a ton of money, sure, but now he literally can't even look at a piece of chicken breast. That is the definition of a trade-off.
And this extreme approach wasn't just for groceries. It carried over into huge life events. The wedding cost only $2,000. The dress came from a thrift store, they skipped the photographer, and the reception was a potluck. A massive win for the bank account, but it definitely came at a price.
And for years, travel was a no-go. The one and only trip they took was chosen for one reason and one reason only. It was the absolute cheapest flight they could find anywhere online. Every single choice was filtered through that lens of saving money.
So you really have to look at this like a balance sheet, right? On one side, you've got incredible wins, financial freedom, a rental property, total control over his time. But on the other side, no wedding photos, missed travel memories, and, a lifelong grudge against chicken. This path is not for everyone, and it's so important to see both sides of the coin.
Okay, so those extreme habits are, yeah, they're a lot. But what about the smarter systems, the sustainable habits you can build? This is where you can make a huge dent without the daily pain of, the chicken crisis.
All right, this might be the single biggest cheat code for your finances, especially when you're just starting out. It's called house hacking. The idea is actually pretty simple. You buy a duplex or a triplex, you live in one of the units, and you rent out the others. The rent you collect from your tenants covers most, or maybe even all, of your mortgage. Think about that. This one move can literally wipe out your biggest monthly expense, saving you thousands every single year. And beyond that one big move, you can build this whole toolkit of high-impact habits. This is all about tackling the big-ticket items. Like buying a reliable used car with cash means no car payment. Learning a few basic DIY skills from YouTube means you're not calling a plumber for every little thing. These decisions are the ones that really add up to huge savings over time.
Now, here is the secret weapon that makes all of this work. Avoiding lifestyle inflation. You know the drill. You get your first raise, and what's the first thing you want to do? Get a nicer apartment, a fancier car. But if you can fight that urge, if you can keep your expenses the same while your income goes up, all that extra money can be blasted directly at your financial goals. It's like hitting the fast forward button.
So after all this talk about chicken and house hacking and savings rates, what's the real point? It is so important to remember that all of this is just a means to an end. It's not the end itself.
And this quote just nails it. Being frugal isn't the destination. The goal isn't to be cheap forever. It's a tool. It's a powerful vehicle that you use for a while to build a strong foundation, so that eventually your money starts working for you. Ultimately, this whole 7-year idea isn't about depriving yourself. It's about front-loading the hard work so you can build a life where you have freedom. The freedom to quit a job you hate, the freedom to travel, the freedom to just choose. It's all about having options.
So that brings us right back to the beginning, and to a question just for you. As you're starting your career, what do you want your life to look like in 7 years? What's your why? Because figuring that out, that is the first and, honestly, the most important step you can take.